regarding straps, I think that's a complicated issue.
Mm-hmm.
You've spoken about the Bob Brown strap.
Yeah, I love the Bob Brown
I don't
strap.
like it.
I think no one likes it because I don't hear anyone talking about it.
It feels like you're tied to someone, but you don't get any of the advantages of a strap.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can just kind of yank on somebody's arm,
mm-hmm.
but there's no, the hand still plays a part when you're strapped up, right? Mm-hmm. Slightly differently though. I feel like in the Bob Brown strap, like you don't really get as much. You're allowed more hand play, but it's almost like not strap-based hand play. It's like what you would normally do in a non-strap match, except your wrists are also tied together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like the worst of both worlds, the way it feels for me.
Well, here's the thing, and I agree on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
So the thing for me is you have to go back to why do we even decide we need a strap? And in my opinion, it's because you're slipping. So if the point of the strap is just to prevent the slip, the Bob Brown strap makes a really good case. However, since we've not been doing the Bob Brown strap, we all got used to the other strap.
Yeah.
And now we like that so much that it's kind of like, well, it's not just that we slip. Now we want that strap applied that way so that we can pull that way so that we can win, so it's like this whole thing.
Yeah.
So then it comes down to, okay, well, what is the base fundamental reasoning for the strap? And can we say for sure that that's why we want the strap? Let's say if it leans toward Bob Brown strap, or are we going to say, well, no, we've been doing it that way the most and we like it, so we'll just do it that way, even though that's not the point of the strap. The point of the strap is just so that we don't come apart, right? So I don't know. I think I like both because I already got used to the old strap and I know what it feels like in there. And I don't know if I care yet if I have the buckle or not in the regular strap versus the Bob Brown strap where it probably doesn't even matter who gets the buckle. And the thing about the Bob Brown strap that makes it complicated is if you really hate it because it's so different from the other strap, how it feels or what you're missing from it, I think it's also because the person who fucking applies that goddamn strap has to do it really well. Otherwise, it's going to be garbage.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, oh. So the other one seems to have, I think, better success rate, even if you don't know what you're doing.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
So in other words, between those two straps, I still think the question of how do we make the strap better for spectators, either one doesn't help because it's still the same application. It still takes the same amount of time. It's still like, what's happening up there?
Well, a lot of,
right?
I mean, if we're talking about spectators that aren't into arm wrestling, they don't even know what the strap is for.
Yeah.
They're like, whoa, why are they tying their hands up?
Right.
And you could tell them, oh, it's so the hands don't come apart. Well, it's like, well, why would they come apart?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because people slip. Well, why do they slip? Well, because when people are top rolling, they don't want to be hanging on to the other person. Well, why would they want to not hang on to the other person? Aren't you trying to win the match? It's like, well, yeah, but if you're hanging on, then they can get into your fingers easier. And if you don't have a stronger hand and can hold on, then you want to slip and to be able to access other strengths. And at the end of the day, it's like, well, why aren't you strong enough to win without a strap? Isn't the point of this to have a stronger hand and arm? And then you're like, you have a point.
But it's a little too complicated for that to even be necessary. Like if you looked at boxing,
the
only reason why you're not asking why they are or aren't doing things, except for maybe when they fucking seem to hug a lot and they're like, why aren't they fighting? Like, that maybe that's what do they call it? There's got to be like a phrase for that when they're just hugging and resting on each other for too long, and people get upset and they're like, when is it? What's going on? Separate them, get them.
Yeah.
So the refs often will separate them and say, "Come on, fight, guys!" Right. So that's to me what the strap is. If you're a spectator and you don't really know enough about the sport and you don't care, you just want to watch the thing. When the strap comes in, it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, why is this taking fucking 20 seconds? And these guys are standing there and like, why is this happening? Like, I want to delete that opportunity from spectators. And I don't know if there's an answer yet. Like, but what I do want to ask you is what I noticed is I was watching some old match and it wasn't that old. And I forget who it was even, but they got into a strap, and it was one of those Velcro straps. And I was like, oh, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I think the Velcro strap, when they did it, it was super fast.
Sure.
It went on there and it fucking Velcroed and they just fucking went for it. And I think I heard somebody say, someone who really knows what the fuck they're talking about, it might have been Travis or somebody, they said the Velcro straps are great, but only when they're new out of the fucking box. And then when the Velcro wears out,
they're useless.
You got to throw them in the garbage.
Right.
So, I don't think
you got to come up with some hyper resistant Velcro, NASA level technology, just so we can arm wrestle better.
Industrial Velcro, something.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I just think that right now the strap is like part of the meta, and unfortunately, you've got all these people training for strap matches. You know what I mean? If you can't, if you suddenly change the strap significantly, a lot of people are going to be, a lot of the athletes are going to be kind of upset about that.
Like, look, like you already hate the Bob Brown strap. So imagine if you're like a pro,
right,
at the top 8,
right,
and then they're like, "Oh, we're doing the Bob Brown strap."
Yeah,
everyone's going to say, "Go fuck yourself!" Like, this is terrible.
Right. Now, Gary Roberts had like those no strap tournaments, right? Like one or so.
I don't know. What is that?
Well, it was a tournament where there's just no strap.
So what does that mean? That when they needed a strap, they were power hooking or something?
I'm not 100% clear on what the details were, but there wasn't going to be a strap because he said, I think they start you off in a hook, basically.
So is this recent, though?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he said, it's because it lends itself to better flow of the tournament.
Right.
But I think sacrificing the integrity of the match for the flow of the tournament isn't really good either.
I think it's a bad idea because if I want to pull in the strap position, but there's no strap, I don't want to be in that fucking match because now I got to become powerful hook, and I'm not an inside guy like I want more options. The evolution of the sport is that you have all these options,
right,
including the strap,
right. I mean, if you're a Kings mover and you can't Kings move without a strap, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people kind of shit on Kings movers, but we want to call it an open top roll, call it an open top, whatever it is, right? Why would you take that away from someone, even if it's not their A move, right? If we're not talking about Michael Todd, right? If we're talking about, Denis Saplankov, you're going to take away a whole defensive option from him?
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a lazy idea for not reinventing the strap so that you could still use it and it solves the problem that you hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand Gary Roberts'
there may be ways of like stitching a strap differently so that you kind of just like I said once, you could just slip it over people's wrists, tighten it up, and bingo bango, there you go.
Yeah.
Right. But maybe people want to experiment with that. Personally, I don't mind it right now. I don't mind it at all, even as a spectator, because I arm wrestle and use the strap myself. I know that it's going to be about 20 seconds of application, and you're jostling for a position. So it's like I know that's part of the sport.
I got an idea then. I never thought of this. It is part of the sport. And the more you're into the sport, because you're an arm wrestler, the more you have no problem with that strap.
Yeah.
So
there's so much that goes on while it's being applied too.
So you know what the problem is? I just realized it. It's not that the spectator is supposed to sit there and get bored. The people putting on the event have to make the fucking strap interesting.
Yes.
Get in there with that camera. Talk about how they're getting the strap, how this guy's getting it high or low, and how he likes it.
Yeah.
And how they're jockeying as they're applying.
Yeah.
Because since they're not doing that, they're making it seem like, oh, we got to put the strap on. Okay, close the curtains, like as if you're changing your underwear. Right. And then when you're done, okay, we're ready now. That's what the spectator feels like. So I think that's what it is. Bring the attention in there.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So that's it. We solved it.
Yeah. Done. Next.